Two additional data manipulation techniques are sorting and ordering the data. If we want to sort the data, we can use the sort function. So as an example, let's work with our drums data frame, and we want to sort all of the drummer's responses to item 1. So we'll use the sort function, we'll call in the drums data frame, and we'll select item 1. So if you remember in a previous video, we explicitly coerced the item 1 variable to an ordered factor vector. We can check this by using the structure function. And we see here it's an ordered factor vector. So by default, the sort function ordered our data in an increasingly monotonic order, from disagree to agree to strongly agree. In this particular instance, there was no response to strongly disagree. Now in the same fashion, if we use a sort function on a numeric vector, in this case, let's use child age. By default, it'll sort it in increasing order, from the lowest value to the highest value. Now if we want to change this and sort it in decreasing order, we can add the decreasing argument within the sort function. So as an example, let's sort the child age variable in decreasing order. Here we'll use the decreasing argument and we'll set it to true. And now we have it sorted in decreasing order. So the limitation of using the sort function is that it only applies to one variable, which means as we sort the elements within this variable, none of the other data in the data frame move with it. And that's important to note because all of the responses moving across the variables in the data frame are all associated with the same respondent or the same person. So in order to overcome this limitation, we can use the order function. And the order function allows us to order all of the data together. Now one thing to note is that the order function doesn't sort the data frame itself. What the order function does is that it returns indices or values that specify the particular ordering of the elements. So this is often confusing and takes a little bit of time to try and understand. So as an example, let's create a new numeric vector of values. We'll store this in an object called example, and we'll concatenate a few values: 15, 3, 45, 23, and 17. Now if we sort this vector using the sort function, we see that the values are presented in increasing order, from the lowest value 3 to the highest value 45. However, if we use the order function here, we don't see the values in the vector. We see an index of numbers that specify the position of the value in the order of the sorted sequence. So if we take a look at the values here, and we compare them to the indices of the order function, the first value we see is 2. And the value of 2 tells us to look at the second position of the example vector. In this case, that's the value of 3. So this value of 3 is the smallest value in the example vector. If we take a look at the next value, 1, the value of 1 tells us to look in the first position of the example vector, which is the value of 15. So the value of 15 is the second smallest value in the example vector. If we take a look at the third value, it's 5. So the value of 5 tells us to look at the fifth position of the example vector. The fifth position is 17. So here the value of 17 is the third smallest value in the example vector. The next value is 4. So 4, we want to look in the fourth position of the example vector. The value of 23 is the fourth smallest value in the example vector. And then last, we want to take a look at the number 3. So 3 tells us to look in the third position, and the value of 45 is the largest number in the example vector. So by giving us the index values, what that does is it gives us a relative position of the values in the vector. And once we've established this index of values, we can use them to order the variable along with other variables. So as an example, let's say we want to order the drums data frame by child age. We can't use the sort function here because it would only sort the child age vector. And in this case, we wouldn't retain the relationship of responses across the columns because none of the other variables would be sorted along with the child age vector. So if we want to sort the child age vector along with all of the other responses from the other variables, we can use an indexing procedure. And within that indexing procedure, we can use the order function for the row value and then leave the column value blank, which will indicate that we want to keep all of the columns. So let's take a look at an example. Let's store this in a new object. We'll call it drums child age. So here we're going to specify the drums data frame. We'll use the indexing brackets. Now remember, we have the X and the Y. The X value is always going to be the rows. The Y value is always going to be the columns. So here what we're going to do is we're going to call the order function on our rows. We're going to order it using the child age variable. And now we want to retain all of the columns. So we'll leave this blank. So let's run this code. And then let's use the view function to look at it. So you see here that we ordered all of the data. By default, again, it's increasing from the lowest value of child age to the highest value of child age. Now, if we want to order it in descending order, we're going to indicate that by using a negative value when we specify the row. So let's create a new object. We'll call it drums child age, descending. We're going to specify our data frame again, which is drums. We'll use our indexing. Again, we're going to order on the row, so we'll use the order function. But here we want it descending, so we're going to use the negative value, drums, child age, and then we want to retain all of the columns, so we're going to leave that blank. Now if we pull this up in the view function, we see that all of the rows have been ordered in descending order of child age. So we can also order with multiple variables. As an example, let's say we want to order the drums data frame by child age and then by years participating. We can specify child age within the order function, and this will order the child age variable in ascending order first, followed by the years participating variable in ascending order based upon the ordering of the factors we set earlier. So let's store this in a new object. We'll call it drums, child age, years participating. Again, we'll specify our data frame, which is drums, and we'll use our indexing brackets. And we're going to order on the rows. So we're going to use the order function here. First, we're going to order on the child age variable. And within the same function, once we order on the child age variable, we're going to order on the years participating variable. And then we want to retain all of the columns, so we'll leave the columns blank. Let's run the code, and we'll take a look at this in the view function. And so you see we've ordered first by child age and then by years participating. So when we combine ordering with indexing, it provides a lot of flexibility to manipulate the data in ways that are interesting or tell a particular story.